Oh, terrible. If I had a small fortune. If I were a rich man. Yabba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dum. All day long I biddy-biddy-bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Yabba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dum. If I were a bitty-bitty rich, dido-dido-dido-dido man.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, my fellow chipmunks. This is Chipmunk Speaks TM, aka Allura G. I hope everyone had a happy new year with many more to come. Why should you listen to me? Well, I am glad you asked. I have a bachelor's in psychology and I am getting my master's in social work. I hope that everyone has had a great start to the new year, being that it is only the beginning to many more and is just that the beginning of resolutions and another revolution around the sun. Family Matters is only one out of many series that I hope to work on in the next upcoming months. This podcast is about looking at parenting styles and how to recognize them to fix relationships, and about how to better communicate with family members and better understand the dynamics that come with parenting in childhood. With this video, I will better explain the four parenting styles with a film analysis at the end. Last time, we delved deeper into the questions provided by hashtag EucharistPainter007 and briefly talked about parenting styles. I hope to explore those topics even further this evening. The four types of parenting styles are described as the following. Number one, authoritarian. The authoritarian parenting style is what I would call the helicopter parent. They are very strict, what they say goes, little consideration to the child's social, emotional, and well-being and behavioral needs, little responsiveness, yet major part in demandingness. Number two, authoritative. The authoritative parent to me is the ideal parenting type. Rules are set with the expectation of them being followed. Not so much a gentle parenting style as permissive is, but guidelines are given to the child to set real expectations. They are also open to communication and help the child develop their socio emotional well being without necessarily wanting to be the child's quote unquote friend. More so, they parent with clear rules: high responsiveness, high demandingness. Number three, permissive. Permissive parenting is one of the three major parenting types as defined by Diana Baumrind in her 1960s groundbreaking study. It's characterized by a lack of structure, consistency, and limits when it comes to discipline and very little interference on the parent's behalf, as noted by C. Perry 2023 article. They have high responsiveness, little demandingness. The permissive parent traits are the following. They give few and or inconsistent rules. They prefer to be a friend to their child rather than an authority figure. They consider their child's opinion in large decisions. They emphasize freedom over responsibilities. They allow for natural rather than imposed consequences. And lastly, they aren't overly concerned about safety, seeing risky situations as learning opportunities. The cons towards using permissive parenting style is that, in general, quote, rules are respect rules and respect are intimately connected. One cannot exist without the other, says Jeff Nalen, an award winning licensed clinical psychologist and founder of Paradigm Treatment Centers, written by Jay Nalen in his 2023 article. And lastly, and most leastly, number four, uninvolved slash neglectful. This parenting style to me is ultimately the worst one besides authoritarian. Authoritarians set high expectations without support of this child's emotional well being, yet neglectful does not really have any sort of regulation for the child. This style gives the child full reign over their circumstances and future without any real consequences given. The child could fully be a threat to society with how the parent may, well, in this case, not interact with their child. A child that has no guidelines may very well be a threat to themselves. Little responsiveness and little demandingness. Now that we've gone over the 4 different types of parenting styles, I hope to do justice with this film analysis of the authoritative parenting style as seen in the film and musical Fiddler on the Roof, starring Topol, Chaim Topol, whom we lost a great actor in the year of 2023, rest in peace, Leonard Frey, Molly Picon, and supporting actor Norma Crane as directed by Norman Jewison. Watch the film now to get a good idea of what's what about the film. The film summary is as follows. Around the year 1905, faced with mounting financial strain and growing anti Semitism in the turn of the century Czarist Russia, RebTevye, a poor milkman, strives to maintain a balance despite the precarious nature of his situation. The main characters are the following: RebTevye, the family man and poor milkman with 5 daughters; Golde, RebTevye's wife; Seitel, RebTevye's eldest daughter; Hodel, RebTevye's second eldest daughter; Chavele, or Chava, his third eldest daughter; Bilke, one of the younger daughters of RebTevye that were named; Lazar Wolf, the town's widowed butcher; matchmaker Yente, the town of Anatevka's marriage consultant; Motel Kamzoil, town's tailor; Perchik, the protester who came into town from Kiev, a university scholar, protester, and teacher of the girls of RebTevye's house; Fiedka, the Christian Russian; Grandma Saitel, the deceased and ghost grandmother of Golde; Fruma Sarah, ghost apparition of Lazar Wolf's deceased wife; the rabbi, the town of Anatevka's religious counselor and leader; priest, the Catholic town's priest; constable, the main town's judge and overseer; Avram, the town informant. Side note, he can read Russian; the beggar, town beggar; and last but not least, the fiddler on the roof. In the beginning, RebTevye talks about the town of Anatevka and proclaims the traditions of the poor little town of Anatevka, as well as describing the very nature of his people, starting with the patriarch down to the kids. And we learn about the importance of such traditions that keep this little Jewish town together as a people around 1905 Czar Russia. We also get a good picture from the town's rabbi of their standing with the Russian Empire at the time, as he states, quote unquote, "May the Czar stay far away from us," in the first few minutes of the film. Avram, the town informant, later tells us about how a few Jewish towns have had their people evicted. The townspeople of Anatevka don't know why they'd been thrown out, but they think it has something to do about anti-Semitism. Furthermore, the reason I believe RebTevye has an authoritative parenting style is due to the very traditions he and his people believe in, and also how he treats each and every one of his daughters. On various occasions throughout the film, we see RebTevye make hard decisions based on the traditional values of Judaism and how his own personal background as a poor milkman in an also poor town. He strengthens the core values in his daughters by firstly being the model father for the 5 of them and a great husband to his wife of 25 years, Golde. The reasons in which I think he is a great model for authoritative are as follows. 1. He lets the children help themselves by letting them dictate their own lives despite tradition. 2. He gives his people he gives his best despite his own occupation as the town milkman, providing his children with love and affection in the midst of his troubles. Number 3. RebTevye corrects his mistakes with his children by firstly thinking it over within himself and giving a straightforward answer of yay or nay with his daughters. And number 4. He asks, after everything that's gone on in their lives, he asks his own wife, Golde, whom he was married to traditionally, if she loves him like their children have found love first with the men they married. With these factors in mind, we can get a better picture of the overall idea of RebTevye being an authoritative father figure. Let's start with the first bullet on the list. We'll put these two bullet points together. A, he lets the children help themselves by letting them dictate their own lives despite tradition. And B, RebTevye corrects his mistakes with his children by firstly thinking it over within himself and giving a straightforward answer of yay or nay with his daughters. After giving his blessing for Saito to marry Motul, despite his agreement to let Lazar Wolf take her for a wife, timestamp 1 hour 11 minutes and 4 seconds to 1 hour 14 minutes and 27 seconds, we learn the inner turmoil of how his position of family head and patriarch in the traditional Jewish home was being put on the line. One could say that he was stuck in a wild game of chess as he tried to reconcile everything by first telling Golda that her own grandmother predicted Saitel's marriage with Motul in a dream he had, time frame 1 hour 15 minutes 45 seconds to 1 hour 26 minutes 39 seconds. Consequently, each daughter afterward began to tell him that they, quote unquote, would like his blessing, end quote, instead of his yay or nay towards their marriages. Each time, one more drastic and outlier than the next. As the second daughter, Hodel, asks for her father to give her and Perchik his blessing to marry one another, timestamp 1 hour 59 seconds 44 1 hour 59 minutes 44 seconds to 2 hours 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and eventually leaving their little town to be with him in Serbia, timestamp 2 hours 13 minutes 48 seconds to 2 hours 19 minutes 2 seconds. When Chava decides she wants to marry a Russian man and a Christian man, Fiedik, her father RebTevye goes through the stages of grief as he decides to decline her relationship to the family and disowns her due to somewhat betrayal to both the family and the ever-dwindling Jewish community, with which, in turn, towards the end of the film, creates conflict within the major town and the town of Authoritative, causing such a chasm that ultimately made the town have to be evicted and displaced all over the world. Timestamps 2 hours 22 minutes and 10 seconds to 2 hours 35 minutes and 22 seconds, and 2 hours 36 minutes 12 seconds to 2 hours 41 minutes 25 seconds. In the end, he finally accepts her and says under his breath, but shouted by his daughter Saitel, quote unquote, God be with you, end quote. Timestamp 2 hours 51 minutes to 2 hours 53 minutes 33 seconds. The second bullet point. RebTevye gives his best despite his own occupation as the town milkman, providing his children with love and affection in the midst of his troubles. Since the beginning of the film, we see that RebTevye wants the best for his daughters, despite not having much, if any, means to provide that. But with what he's got, he gets the children a teacher. He has their feelings in mind when they ask, or rather tell him, that they are going to marry the men they love, despite him, the matchmaker, and quite literally their religious upbringing. Last but not least, RebTevye is an authoritative parent due to, after everything that's gone on in their lives, he asks his own wife, Golda, whom he was married to traditionally, if she loves him like their children have found love first with the men they married. As he considers her in everything that he does as a lover and a father, he continues to give her a say in what he does in their livelihood. For example, he tells her a dream of Saitel and Motul to settle her nerves about the former agreement with Lazar Wolf, and he tells her about Hodel and Perchik getting married without their need for his and her approval, with some lecturing from her. And through thick and thin, they'd been together after not knowing each other till their wedding day. She gives him the answer that she'd been with him for 25 years, happily doing the housework and being a lovely wife for him, birthing his and her 5 daughters, and it would only make sense that she loved him. Timestamped 2 hours 6 minutes 24 seconds to 2 hours 8 minutes 57 seconds. Throughout the film, we see how loving he is towards her, showing the daughters what a man should be to their wives, giving some sort of recognition to the traditional family home and lifestyle of the 20th century. Even then, with the help of Hodel's soon-to-be husband Perchik, RebTevye works up the nerve to dance with his wife Golda. Stamp timestamp 1 hour 43 minutes and 4 seconds to 1 hour 46 minutes and 6 seconds. We can see the turning of the times in the moment as RebTevye and Perchik continue to break tradition and change the town's community little by little. All in all, it was only a matter of time that their traditions were put to the test when they finally had to say goodbye to their little town of Authoritative. Overall, the film was an amazing feature of the Jewish tradition and a great insight to the times of the former Russian Empire. The wedding dances in the film were astonishing. The variety of voices in the film were outstanding. I would like to personally state that Topol will forever be missed as an actor, father, and friend of many, and lived a great life. May he rest in peace. The design of the stage and clothing was a nice insider look to the age of 1905. With this last thing in mind, I believe that once someone has an understanding of the past, the future will be brighter than ever. Za vasha zdrovia, na zdrovia, and das vidanya, everybody. If you feel like you're alone in this world, you're not alone. Please call the suicide hotline 988 if you feel like you need help. Locate your local mental health clinic and seek help. Like I said, you are not alone. We are here for you. Just reach out your hand. That is all for tonight, my fellow chipmunks. Hope to see you for part 5 of a many-part series, Permissive Parenting Style Film Analysis. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon.